Thanks for tuning in. I'm Daniel Barnett, and we're going to take a moment now with Mayor Tom Orr here in Cambridge. We're talking today about what's going on with the bed tax. I know for a lot of people, that's a hot topic issue, and we're going to talk a little bit about why that might be necessary, how that process of implementing it could work, and some steps that are going to come from that. So, Mayor Orr, thanks for joining us again today.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me, and this is a good idea.
Well, as I said, we're going to try to do this every 2 or 3, maybe every month, so to speak, and keep people updated on what's going on in Cambridge. And as I said, the hot topic issue right now is what people are calling the bed tax. So before we get to what that actually is, why don't we talk about where the necessity or the idea for having this bed tax came in?
Well, when you're a CEO of a business or a mayor of a town, in my case, you're always looking at financial figures and trying to figure out how do we keep the process going when you're trying to take care of a town. And you see a lot of backhoes, bulldozers, and we just talked about paving. This all comes at a cost. And over the last few years with this extremely rough economy, about 4 years out now, I will say I think we've bounced a little bit and we're heading in the right direction. But we just looked at other means to plug holes. One of the biggest holes everyone knows about is the interest rate at your bank account. Mm-hmm. If you are lucky enough to have any money to put in, which a lot of people have problems there, including me, interest is non-existent. Mm-hmm. So the city has lost almost all its interest income, to the tune of almost $300,000 in the last 2 years. And that's a lot. That's big money. That's big money.
No kidding.
The other thing is our governor has decided, and the state legislature, to give the inheritance tax back to people, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I understand if you've worked hard all your life and this tax hits, but cities and municipalities got all of that tax. That benefited, and you never knew how much was going to come in, but last year the city of Cambridge benefited $75,000 from that, and that helps seal the books, buy a police cruiser, put a cop to work, things that we just can't do any other way. So that's left. And then we've lost small government funds over the last, and that's been a slow scale, but the impact of that last year was almost $200,000. So when you start talking numbers like that, my administration, we looked everywhere for where are we missing here? And that led us to the bed tax. By law, in 1969, I believe it was passed. It's laying on the books, and we've discovered that Cambridge, for whatever reason, hasn't gotten that for 20 years. I believe and firmly believe they've been there long enough and done very well, and we appreciate that. But as you share a lot, the sacrifices and the focus of a community, I felt it was time to put that out there that we need to maybe go get our just due. Now, there is room to move it one way or the other, and I think that'll be a discussion we'll have at some point. But I'd ask council, and I'm going to stay the course, to have them pass that. I believe it will pass. We'll have 3 readings. We are through the first one, as we had 2 readings in committee. They did table it once, and they're kind of feeling their way through it. People are welcome to go to their councilman and talk to them, or mostly it's running probably about 75% or 80% in favor. There are a few cautious people out there, and I hear that. Mm-hmm. I want to take care of the town and not hurt anybody. That is my number one goal. But at the same time, these are out-of-town people, whether it's Dickens they're coming to, or Salt Fork or Seneca Lake, the roads, the police, the fire, and the sacrifices. And I think of that constituent that when me and my city service director went out and stumped for the extra 5% tax, and they stepped up, and they heeded the call, and they expect that out of us to make sure that everyone's doing their part, and those are the people I work for, and I know that. So, and this is one of the tough ones. Mm-hmm. But again, I remember back, and maybe I think you were here then, when we had to come out and talk about landlords and registering our landlords in my first 4 years. We talked about getting that turned up so we can get our neighborhoods turned around. And that came at a cost. But I think it was a positive outcome from that. Mm-hmm. And you can see the impact in our neighborhoods. So stay the course. We'll work with anybody, but we got to take care of what we got to take care of.
Sure. Now, the bed tax is 3%, right?
The full county's allowed to get 3%, and the city's allowed to get 3%, and there's another one in there, 3%. So it'll actually be a full 9% when it's all said and done. But now you can tweak it one way, go 1.5 and all that. But at the same time, we're talking about $2 on $100. It's just really not, in my opinion.
And that's what I wanted to sort of get out of that. At the end of the day, dollars and cents wise, that's adding $2 onto a $100 hotel stay. Is that correct?
More or less. Some of them's $129 a night, some's $55. You're allowed to charge. That's the motel's job, whatever they're doing there. One of the things brought up is like Zanesville would be 0.5% below us now. Well, if you're in Cambridge and gas being at $4, I don't think you're going to turn around and drive back to Zanesville. I ask everybody, I've discussed this a lot. I don't think I found anyone yet that goes into a hotel and says, how much is the tax tonight because I may not stay here? I don't think anyone ever's done that. But if you do, and we'll discuss that later.
And what would you say, I think one of the big protests against this idea was the idea that it could hurt tourism, or especially with oil and gas folks coming in, it might hurt that business that the hotels have seen. What do you say to that idea?
Well, the gas and oil thing, that's just a new phenomenon right now, which is wonderful. I'm so pro gas and oil, it's unbelievable. But there has been some in this trying to get me to go the other way, or us saying, he's against gas and oil or this. No. Those people, they got a job to do, and they come with an idea what they're focused on. That has nothing to do with it. This would be, in my eyes, this has been laying in my back mind for almost 6 or 7 years. And that's just, there's no way of proving that. But it's about timing and when. And when I first came into this, we had so many bigger issues. We had to build a launch pad, so to speak, just like the gas and oil do. They got to build a launch pad. So we'll work together on that and move on from there. And I kind of lost what other part of that you asked me.
That answered it just fine. Thank you. All right. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up, at least for now. Maybe we'll revisit it down the road if it becomes something to talk about down the road. But again, thank you for joining me today.
Well, thank you. And I think, like you said, that's what's good about this opportunity. These issues do kind of linger along. We'll see where it goes.
Sure. All right. Thank you. And thanks for tuning in. We'll be back with more Moments with Mayor Tom Orr in the coming weeks.